very colorful cultural program.
Program, huh? How about, is there a parade back at home?
Yes, there are different events. There is sports competitions, parades, and then there is a ceremony in the President House where the President of Pakistan confers, national decorations, awards to people who have made certain achievements,
Titles, huh?
Titles, decorations. So that's a big ceremony. Then, of course, the dinners, and in the evenings, there is these lights, illuminations.
Oh, the colorful lights.
Yeah, colorful lights,
right.
and fireworks.
Okay, let's talk about, since we're at the topic of fireworks, usually we link them to tourism in Pakistan. Let's talk a little bit about the tourism in Pakistan. What are the prospects for tourism in Pakistan?
Well, Pakistan is, thanks God, endowed with a beautiful landscape. We have high mountains, we have desert, we have ocean, we have just plain fields. Sorry. And about 8 of the world's tallest mountains are in Pakistan, including the second tallest after Mount Everest. So the north of Pakistan presents an ideal trekking place and hiking place for mountaineers. We are also focusing now, we are giving attention to infrastructure development. More roads are being constructed, and some hotels, budget hotels also, where people can come. And Pakistan is inheritor of 3 civilizations: Mughal civilization, Gandhara civilization, Indus civilization. So it's a combination. Its history is very rich, culture is very rich, although it is diverse. But it's beautiful. And another, I think, side of tourism there is the religious tourism, because this Gandhara civilization, we have the Buddhist temples and Buddhist architecture. The world's largest Buddhist university is in Taxila. So we are trying to encourage and promote religious tourism.
So if I'm a Malaysian tourist, I want to go over to Pakistan, or what would be the main language I should actually converse? Do I have to converse in local Mandarin? Do I have to converse in English? Can I speak in English?
You see, another common link between us is this facility of speaking English. Here also people by and large speak English. In Pakistan also, you can communicate as a foreigner with Pakistanis in English. You will not find trouble.
Right.
And of course our national language is Urdu. But if you go as a foreigner, as a tourist, you can communicate everywhere, in the shops, in the hotels, restaurants.
It's like an adopted second language.
Yeah, I mean, it is official language. English is official language.
Okay.
So you can communicate in English, there's no problem.
Probably you can tell us a little, 1 or 2 places that are very famous in Pakistan, like everyone, it's a must go for you in Pakistan.
Well, you see, we offer everything. If you are interested in the financial part, the economic part, then you should visit Karachi.
Okay.
The biggest city in Pakistan, which is the financial center.
Something like KL, huh?
Yeah, KL. It's big. It is about 18 million population, Karachi. If you want to visit historical sites, that probably you should go to Mohenjo-daro, which is 5,000 years BC, heritage. Then you should, if you are interested in the Buddhist sites, Buddhist monuments, then you should visit Taxila University, where the Alexander the Great came. You are interested in Mughal architecture, then you should visit Lahore, which is full of beautiful, mosques and palaces and forts and gardens, the Mughal architecture, So it's a very nice mix for a tourist. And then of course in the evening, like our Malaysian friends, like you guys, we also enjoy our food, we like to enjoy and serve Pakistani food to our guests.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about Pakistani food. Is there a national dish or probably something very famous? If I actually visit Pakistan, I need to do this. I need to eat this.
You see, we have had Central Asian influence and the Mughal influence on our cuisine. So it's a hybrid, our cuisine. But before coming here, I did not know that biryani, which is a very popular dish, kind of a national dish in Pakistan,
Right.
is also your, favorite dish.
Yes.
So now, biryani is made of what? Biryani is made of this long grain rice, which is called basmati rice. And Pakistan is a big producer of basmati rice, and we export worldwide, including Malaysia. So biryani is one. Then you have, of course, kebabs. You can have chicken kebabs. You can have minced beef kebabs, minced meat, fish kebabs. Then we also roast full lambs, and we stuff them with sometimes rice, with potato and onions and tomatoes, and then you barbecue it on charcoal.
Right.
That is also very nice. Then, of course, you will like to taste our fruits, like, for example, mango and mandarin, and which are very rich.
Right.
And then we also like very much this chicken dishes,
Okay.
chicken and lamb dishes.
A variety of chicken dishes.
So korma, chicken korma, lamb korma, kebabs, naan. I should not forget to mention naan. And variety of breads which we make.
Right.
And they are best eaten when they are hot. If they're cold, you won't get the taste.
It's totally get that. So maybe for Malaysians out there that don't have the opportunity to fly down to Pakistan to actually have their food, where can they find an awesome Pakistani restaurant here that you maybe know of?
Well, there are, I think, quite a few outlets where Pakistani food is available in Kuala Lumpur. I don't remember all the names, but there are quite a few restaurants where you can find. Of course, I also have some facility in my home to serve my
private chef.
Private chef.
Right.
But we have Pakistani food is easily available here.
Right. Okay. We're gonna move on to something a little serious. What are Pakistan's stand in global terrorism? The world's going against terrorism. What's Pakistan's stand on that?
Well, I think I need another hour with you to speak on that, because we have done a lot.
Right.
Frankly, I think world needs to appreciate what Pakistan has done.
Tell us a little bit more.
We have, we have a peculiar geopolitical situation, and the situation in our neighborhood, in our region, has not been peaceful for the last so many years. So it has had a spillover effect on Pakistan. So we are coping with that problem. Right now, the problem of militancy is confined to this narrow belt of on the border of Pakistan and Afghanistan, which we are trying to handle.
Okay.
We have succeeded greatly, and we are continuing our efforts. For example, the border with Afghanistan is about 2,500 kilometers long.
Yes.
And it is a difficult border. It is a hilly border.
Oh.
And it is a porous border. But we have deployed more than 100,000 soldiers there to interdict and check any infiltration.
How about refugees?
We still have 2 million Afghan refugees.
Right.
And we want them to go back to their country and start their new life there. More than 3,000 Pakistani soldiers have lost their lives.
Yeah, that's a sad story.
In the fight against terrorism. And I think about 10,000 or more civilians have died.
Yeah.
So Pakistan has paid a heavy price, and we are still continuing. We are determined that we will not allow militants and extremists to succeed. At times, they have created trouble in Pakistan. They have indulged in sabotage, subversion, terrorist acts, because Pakistan is a big country.
Yeah.
we have big urban centers. So sometimes these elements infiltrate and try to destabilize the situation. But I think if you analyze the figures of the last 2 years, you will come to the conclusion that these acts have declined. And I'm positive, given the resolution of our government and the steps which we have taken to deal with the problem, we will eventually succeed with the help of the international community.
Right, Your Excellency, we're going to take another short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to His Excellency Masood Khalid a little bit more about Pakistan. Stay tuned.
Since 1896, we have witnessed the Industrial Revolution, the fall of an empire, and the birth of our great nation. Though the faces behind the Malay mail may have changed through the years, and even our size, we have always given you the news that has shaped your world. And from the time we started Walking Big for charity, we have always been the paper that cares. That's why we're giving you tomorrow's headlines today with our late edition.
Tests, technology, driving pleasure, fascinating automobiles. Drive it.
Amalan hijau perlu dijadikan sebagai gaya hidup harian.
Iya, macam pakai baju hijau, topi hijau, makan sayur hijau, dan dengar lagu hijau.
Bukanlah ayah, amalan hijau ini amalan berhemah dan berjimat dalam penggunaan api dan air. Amalkan 3R dan gunakan produk berteknologi hijau.
Iya, ayah lawak aja tadi tu. Lampu kalau tak pakai, tutup. Gunakan lampu dan barangan elektrik yang menjimatkan tenaga. Air pula jangan dibiarkan menitik, membazir. Bila hujan, kita tadahkan air untuk membasuh kereta dan menyiram pokok bunga.
3R, reduce, reuse.